submission. All right, we'll move on to the next one, and that's the South Brighton Residents Association submission.
Good afternoon, all of you. I have to point out, in addition to Jackie's submissions here, that South Brighton is one of these areas where we do not have a proper community house. We've got a recycled one from QE2, and then a building that was supposed to be demolished. It was 10% of building code, but it has been a lot of money has been poured into that. But on to our submission. Seamus?
Tēnā koutou, Mayor, Councillors. So we're back to the point raised in the previous submission, partially, but we won't ask you to comment. The submission process for the long-term plan is certainly an example of democracy in action, but unfortunately, in the experience of South Brighton Residents Association, which we represent, democracy in action for the Christchurch City Council is 2 words rather than 3 words, because inaction has been the only response since 2010. SBRA has been lobbying for action on a range of issues for our suburb for almost 10 years without any meaningful response from the council. So our question for you today to think about when you consider the long-term plan is on the screen, if we can bring it up.
Yes.
Well, I'll read it since we're having technical problems. Is the council taking the submissions process seriously? So do you listen to what people actually say? Do you decide to take action? Or is it simply just going through the motions and continuing with the plan that you had before the submissions process started? So we're obviously not going to get the graphics from the council technical side.
So here it is.
Here's a list of SBRA and Empower Christchurch meetings, submissions, deputations, etc. And with council since the earthquakes. It excludes most of the correspondence and OIA requests. Discussions with council at SBRA meetings, and as well as phone calls, meetings and discussions with council-funded organisations like the Community Board, Regenerate Christchurch and the HOW team, the Costa Futures and the like.
Okay, on to the next one. So in parallel with our attempts to obtain clear information and solutions for South New Brighton, the Council has engaged in a series of initiatives, but has still not addressed the problems of seismic risk, land subsidence, high groundwater, and the assessment of the risk to life from a stop bank failure, which is the biggest threat in our area. The latter assessment was resolved by Council on the 29th of August 2019, but the results have still not been made public. This is risk to life. You would think this was absolutely urgent, but nothing has been done, nothing has been made public since then. And here are some of the key dates over the last years in our interactions with the Council. Next slide. That's one missing, is it? Yeah.
It's there.
Next one up. Over to you.
Yeah, it's the next one. Yeah, we're interested in finding out what the long-term plan provisions are for the Lower Avon. Once again, the area which is worst affected and subject to the stop banks is South Brighton, north of Bridge Street. Now it's categorized with Lower Avon instead of the South Brighton and South Shore area. Another confusion with the boundaries. There is no information on this in the long-term plan. If the intention is to delay the process even further, can the risk to life at least be addressed as a matter of urgency? The land drainage problems and the enhanced risks were caused by seismic events. This situation is unlikely to improve, given that further earthquakes are to be expected. More than 10 years after the first earthquake, these risks need to be carefully considered in the long-term plan.
Mm-hmm.
You do this one? Yeah, this is the reality we are dealing with there. There are stock banks there which were not in place before the earthquakes. They are 1.2 meter high. The difference between the tide level, highest measured tide level, and the land level is 98 centimeters. Last when it was measured. Children come in much smaller sizes than 98 centimeters. Why is it that council just leaves this forever? Can you do something about this situation? I offer you, more information, videos, photographs, all sorts of evidence if you want to go through this stuff. But this is reality. This is serious. I really would like to see some action there. Is it too much to ask for?
No, but this is your ask for the long-term plan, and that's in the nature of the submission that you've just presented. So we've come to the end of the time allocated for the hearing today, but thank you both very much for coming in and for presenting to us. And we will respond in whatever way that we do in relation to the decisions that we make on the long-term plan. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.